All right, welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. Have you been eyeing your garden lately? Wondering if it's too early to start planting? You're not alone. Now we have the warmer temperatures creeping in. Let me just refresh here. Let me get my board up. 13 is the high today. 11 is the high on Friday. 14 and 15 over the weekend. 18 on Monday. And I'm looking at the lows. Tonight the low's -1. Uh-oh, danger, danger. Let's find out a little bit more about when you can safely start planting. The one, the only, Catherine Sheriffs joins us now, executive editor of Garden Culture magazine. She used to be on my TV set. I remember her. Hey, Catherine, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Elias?
I'm good. But you know what? Let's forget the gardening for a second. Why aren't you back on my TV set? You know what? I want you back on my TV. You were fantastic.
Yeah, that feels like, thank you. That feels like another lifetime ago. I've been spending too much time in my garden, I think.
Okay, so let's get to gardening here. How do you view this time of year? Late April, and we're oh so close, but are we?
You know what? We are very close. I do understand that people are starting to feel really eager, maybe a little too eager, because as you mentioned, tonight it does drop to -1, right? So that's kind of like, that is a danger zone for many, many crops. So you have to be very careful about what you plant right now. But first and foremost, when planting your garden, it's really important to check your last frost date. So I use the Farmer's Almanac website. That's a really great resource. And that tells me that living in the Laurentians where I do, my last projected frost date is May 30th, right? That's still a ways away. If you live in Montreal, though, the last risk of a hard frost is actually this coming Saturday. So you see it really varies region by region, and it's important to know your zone and when that frost risk has passed. But ultimately, Elias, the best time to plant your garden is really crop specific, and you have to pay attention to the guidelines on the back of a seed packet. So there's really some good information there. It'll tell you if a crop is frost hardy or not. So yes, you can start planting right now, but it has to be something that can tolerate some cooler temps.
Gotcha. So there are the hardy plants that can handle those cooler temps.
Absolutely. So if we're talking about an edible garden, you want to think about direct sowing seeds for radishes, beets, bok choy, Swiss chard, spinach. There are carrots, parsnips, snow peas, turnips. So you're really not limited. There's a ton that can go into the ground right now. And these crops actually do better in cooler temperatures. If you plant them, say tonight, by tomorrow, you could be harvesting some of them within a month. So a lot of them are really fast growing. And what this does too is it opens the door to something we call succession planting, meaning you can plant multiple crops at different times to ensure a steady harvest throughout a short Quebec growing season. So some of the crops I mentioned won't do as well in the heat of July and August, but you can play around with them and you can plant them under the shade of some tall tomato plants. For example, I do this every year with radishes and beets, right? So they can keep growing. You harvest them again at the end of the summer, then you plant new seeds in September so you can get an October harvest before closing your garden for the winter.
That's incredible. Like I'm just thinking about my sad sack tomatoes where I feel like I spent 4 or 5 months and I just got these tiny ones, and you're telling me I could get some other things like radishes in a month if I tried hard.
Oh, absolutely. I can do radish, like 3 weeks, honestly.
Oh,
radishes, you can do in 3 weeks. It's fantastic. It's such a rewarding crop.
Okay, before we mentioned the risk, right? The risk. But what are we risking here? Okay, let's say you have someone that lives dangerously and wants to risk it. What are they risking?
Okay, so it's still really cool at night, right? So you want to make sure that warm season crops like tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, and squash have nighttime temps of at least 10 degrees Celsius, okay? And if you get them in the ground before that, what can happen is you'll stunt growth. So you may not get as many tomatoes as you were hoping for. In really extreme cases, you can end up with plant death, which is not very good.
Yeah.
You can end up like me, telling my husband at 10 o'clock at night that we got to go cover the gardens with tarps. He loves it when I do that. Let me tell you, he loves that. But no, you really need to be careful. And what you can do is do season extenders, right? You can extend your season using agrotextile to cover sensitive crops, like little hoop houses. They're easy enough to build. You can find plans online, cold frames. Some people use tempos in their backyards to protect their plants from the cold.
Oh, finally a useful thing for a tempo other than being an eyesore. I love it.
Absolutely. No, those are really cool in the backyard. Microclimates, take advantage of them. Placing a garden close to hard surfaces like a brick wall, a concrete sidewalk, or rocks. These hard surfaces surfaces absorb heat all day long, and then they emit the warmth back throughout the night. Montreal has a ton of these surfaces, so use them to your advantage.
That was super smart. I never heard of that, and it makes lots of sense. Can I ask you about, can we get a head start in our house? Can we plant stuff in pots in our home while we wait?
Absolutely. I've had tomato seedlings growing in my basement for about a month now. So it would be a little bit late right now to start tomatoes. However, you can definitely in the coming weeks start things like pumpkins, zucchinis. Lots of things can be started in your home a few weeks before you want to get them outside, right? But there are also seeds that can be directly sown into the garden. You don't have to worry about starting them in your home at all.
Okay. So and again, that's a nice way of getting things started earlier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, I've been gardening in my basement for a month.
And what are some other tips on tips and tricks that you're telling a lot of people right now? You know, especially at Garden Culture Magazine. What are your go-tos every April in your toolkit?
So I would say probably the best thing you can do before planting is add a layer of good quality compost to your garden beds. You do not have to dig it in. A no-dig garden is a great thing because you leave the soil structure that help your plants grow intact, right? And also saves your back. So no-dig gardening, I'm really into. All you have to do is spread some compost out over the top of the bed, add some nutrients to your soil to feed your future seedlings, and that alone will go a really long way. Another thing you can do is, get any trellis or cages or structures into your pots, your raised beds or the ground right now before you plant your seedlings. And what that will do is make sure that they have their climbing structures or they have their support, and you won't damage their root structure if you put it in after.
Let me ask you about compost here. Is this like a super duper life hack here, both for saving money, like the food scraps in the home, that kind of stuff? Just how important, how important would it be for someone to, if they're not composting, start composting, use that in their garden, and what a resource that is?
Composting is honestly something we should all be doing, and it doesn't matter where you live. You could have a 3.5 apartment and still be composting really effectively. There are so many different ways to do this. Vermicomposting bins, first of all, that uses worms. I know this sounds gross. I have one, and I'm going to tell you this thing is, it's crazy. It's a Rubbermaid container that I drilled holes into. I put some newspaper in it. I put my food scraps in there, and worms eat it, digest it, and excrete the most beautiful compost you could possibly ever imagine.
Wow.
And I use that in my garden beds. Yeah, it's phenomenal, and anyone can do this.
Okay.
Anyone.
Everybody run, do not walk over to Garden Culture Magazine. Just go onto your Google search, wherever you do your searching, Garden Culture Magazine. You'll find the words of Catherine Sheriffs and others on that website, and it's a tremendous resource throughout the gardening season. That mellifluous voice you've been hearing is that of Catherine Sheriffs, executive editor of Garden Culture Magazine. Catherine, you're great. I say this every single time, but you really are.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
All right, we'll talk again real soon. There's Catherine Sheriffs.
Canadian women are looking for more out of themselves, their businesses, their elected leaders, and the world around them.
And that's why we're thrilled to introduce the Honest Talk podcast.
I'm Jennifer Stewart.
And I'm Catherine Clark. And in this podcast, we interview Canada's most inspiring women.
Entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, politicians, and newsmakers, all at different stages of their journey.
So if you're looking to connect, then we hope you'll join us.
Listen to the Honest Talk podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to your podcasts.